We were going to start with Vikings, but I feel like we just need to pick this conversation up where it left off the microphone. The Timberwolves, 3 wins in a row, Patrick. The Mavericks are kind of a train wreck, and then, of course, Luka Doncic got ejected for God knows what reason. Like, didn't even get the courtesy first technical, but
No.
they have kind of Anthony Edwards playing the playmaker role, if you will, has worked pretty well the last couple weeks.
Yeah, it has now. It was working really well when Russell was making shots. He was not making shots last night, but he seems perfectly content to not have the ball, and that's great because even he is now their number 3 guy with the ball. Because Austin Rivers is playing a lot, but he bows down to Anthony and lets Anthony have the ball, and then Rivers, when he doesn't have the ball, Rivers does, and D'Lo never has the ball, which is really good because then they throw him the ball and he can make a shot once in a while. And and then you got Nas, who was the best player on the court last night, just fighting like crazy and battling. He likes the fact that he's going to be a free agent. He's trying to get himself some points and some money. And what impressed me the most last night, that there was enough people in the crowd aware that if Reed had made that at the end of the game, that would have been a triple-double for Anthony Edwards. And it was, the big reaction from the crowd, like, oh, no, when he missed it, when it had nothing to do with the game being won or lost, So it was people aware that, well, it would have been 30 for Nas, but it also would have been a triple-double for Ant. And then Finch took Edwards out of the game, and there was people chanting, "We want Ant, put Ant back." They wanted
Ant threw the ball at Finchy. Ant threw the ball at Finchy.
Yeah. In a humorous fashion, yes. But he wanted. Edwards is always aware of, what. I go back to when he missed that free throw that cost him 30, and it was like, he had a great game. They blew somebody out, and he was depressed because he didn't get his 30. So he's always aware of the. I had no idea that he was close to a triple-double to that stuff. But then all of a sudden I said, "Well, I said, oh, what, I got a triple-double? That's why they're chanting." So.
Yeah. Well, and then something else interesting happened this morning. Chris Finch. I'm going to put Pat in timeout here, Dex, because his connection is like 5 seconds behind us. His connection's getting crackly. But I'll give, when Pat comes back, I'll give you the Chris Finch anecdote from KFXN radio this morning. But Judd and I were texting during that game last night, too, just kind of like, okay, so they're 6-4 without Karl-Anthony Towns. I think they're maybe, are they 4-4 without Gobert or 3-4 without both of them? I think the 3-game winning streak is without both of the centers. But it is interesting that now Anthony Edwards is the one sort of driving the offense, and D'Angelo Russell has sort of found his comfort level. He started to find it when Cat was still healthy. But if this thing is just sort of organically moving over toward Anthony Edwards as the primary playmaker, and he's becoming more comfortable with that, and he's initiating the offense, okay, and this thing is starting to click a little bit more, and Jalen Noel is clicking, then how do you integrate Gobert first, because he'll come back soon, and then in like a month or two, how do you integrate Cat? But I think it's a really interesting thing that's brewing here organically with Anthony Edwards just sort of taking the reins, Judd.
Pat, are you back?
We got Pat back.
I'm back. Am I okay?
I think we're okay. I think we're okay.
It appears so.
Find out, yeah. So Pat, Finch told KFXN radio this morning in the Minneapolis-St. Paul listening area that he believes Karl-Anthony Towns will still be out, quote, a multitude of weeks with that calf strain. There'll be a reevaluation coming up fairly soon, but he's still going to be out for a minute, according to John Krasinski's transcription. And while this is happening, the franchise is just sort of moving into the control of Anthony Edwards. He's running the offense a lot more. He's putting up big numbers. They're 6-4 since Cat has been out. So what do you look into your crystal Timberwolves ball here? How is this playing out?
I don't know what is going on because you can't trade him as Judd has pointed out and the others until after the end of this season. But another interesting part about the Ant element is that Naz Reid after the game last night, why is Edwards playing so well? Because he's so happy. He said that he's never been this happy this season, which means I'm the man. The other guy is sitting over there in his red stocking hat. So that was very intriguing to say the least. And as you were pointing out earlier, Finch saying he's going to be out multiple weeks means I don't care when you come back, which is astounding, isn't it? It's
well, he also made a comment last week during a press conference when asked about Cat coming back at some point. He said, "Well, we have found something with our current spacing here, and so we might." He goes, "I didn't think about this going into the season, but we might just have to park Cat." His words were "park Cat in the corner."
Yes,
to maintain spacing.
Nobody puts Cat in the corner. Damn it!
That was the all-time coach sideways shot at a guy, and plus, as I pointed out, he's always shot better from up top than he shot from the corner. So it's not like he's a corner shooter. Now maybe he could become one, but it's an amazing dynamic right now. That also defensively, you got Rudy Gobert to make you great defensively, right? To make you much better defensively. And all they're talking about is how they're running around playing defense and challenging everything because they have athletes and they have some speed and they got Naz in there fighting. And it's once again, even when they do the right thing, it's the wrong thing, so Rudy Gobert, but yeah, where are they going? They're stuck with these two guys. Where are they going with it? Not that this team, obviously, with this personnel, you're not going to, win a whole lot of games. You're going to win 40 maybe, right? And be a 9 seed or something. But it is an interesting dynamic that they look so much better movement-wise without either of those big lugs than they do with them, right?
And Pat, I don't think that Cat, so just from the grand chemistry experiment here, when Cat comes back, I don't think he can accept being, parked in the corner or being the second guy. Like I think Gobert will do his best to work around and make things work. Karl is convinced and told by, I think, certain folks, you are the guy. So when he gets back, it's going to be back to, okay, Ant, you do your thing, but I am the man here. And that's where I think the chemistry experiment, just from a human standpoint, becomes very difficult because Karl's not going to accept a role in which he takes a back seat.
Well, what is interesting as we're talking about Edwards now is how the first month of the season we were saying, what the hell's wrong with Anthony Edwards? Why is he so not involved so often? Why is he lost out there? And we were questioning his attitude and other things like that. And now he's, anything I got to do to win here, play defense. He spent, when McDaniels wasn't guarding Luka last night, Edwards took some turns guarding him, and it's an amazing situation to say the least. And
there's just something about. I'm not saying that Ant is happy specifically because Cat is not involved. I wouldn't not say that, but I just feel like there's something about his demeanor. Cat, I'm talking about. There's something about his whole demeanor and persona that just tends to drag it down. Like he's not a joyful guy. He's a whiner. He's a complainer. He's super talented, but I could see how a cloud would be lifted if he wasn't out there doing those things every night. I could see it.
Yeah, and you know what? The rest of the league season 2, I don't think you're going to get anywhere near I think he'll be traded this summer, and I don't think you can get anywhere near the reward you think you're going to get. for him. I think the rest of the league. I've got guys I know over there who they don't like him. They think he's just too much of a prima donna, all about me guy. And this team is also talking about, oh man, we're all in, how much they're in this together and the whole thing. And he isn't around. So it's I'm trying to think of who does he remind us of? Christian Leitner. Nah, he's not Leitner. He's not. He's just a different personality.
He's DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
He's DeMarcus. DeMarcus is a little bit more
of a problem,
edgy
right?
and cantankerous.
Yeah.
He was more just like,
he was more likely to punch a teammate in the club.
Yeah.
Cat is sullen because he's afraid you'll punch him back. But
Cat's sullen. That's
I'll give you another one. He's Kevin Love 10 years ago. He's Kevin Love 10 years ago. If he can get to it now, ideally you could have. This is the problem. The Wolves, Kevin Love and Andrew Wiggins, two different sort of subsections of the last 10 years. They have looked at those guys and said, we need you to drive the car. And then it just became obvious that those guys are like, I don't really feel comfortable driving the car. And now I'm becoming a sadder version of myself because you continue to make me drive the car. I'd rather sit in the back right seat with the Warriors or with, in Kevin Love's case, the Cavs. If you could have found a way to keep those players, but have them be like the third guy in line because you built a monster roster, that would be great. But the organization wasn't in a spot to do that. So, I mean, if you could get to a point where you could keep Cat, but hey, it's understood that we are going to park you in the corner once in a while, a lot, and you're going to be kind of the third guy, and you're not going to be mad about it. Because if you trade him, you're going to get 50 cents on the dollar compared to the Gobert trade. But I just don't. I mean, it's kind of a power struggle without it. It's not a frontal power struggle, but this thing works better when Ant is driving it.
I think my favorite Cat moment ever was when they're trying to recover from the Butler trade. That was, and they're having the was it pre-pandemic? We're going to return from the pandemic, and they're informal workouts, and everybody's over there, and Cat's in Cabo with his new girlfriend, but he's sending messages telling them, hang in there, this is going to be great. But he's in Cabo. I was thinking last night, I didn't see him. Somebody pointed him out that he was there and sitting way down at the end of the bench in a red stocking hat. But I thought, well, maybe he's in Cabo with, his Kardashian buddy girlfriend, Jordan Woods or whatever her name is. He's, boy. I don't know. I think you always say winning the press conference. I don't think I've ever been more impressed with a guy at the introductory press conference. Mom and dad are educators and they're both there in the audience, and he's just sharp as hell with a little funny thing going in and all. But here's his problem. He's a raving egomaniac. Okay. Yeah. He might not rave, but the league is filled with these guys, but he's a 100% all about me guy. And that's, and I don't think that's what they got going right now. And when he's around, then D'Angelo is that. And, other guys, they just also, is there a sport where chemistry is more important than basketball? Because there's only 5 of them out there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, and Ant is, when Ant is going well, and to quote Nas, having a great time or fun, he is a lot of fun to watch as far as like just his demeanor. Like, forget the successes, the demeanor is so great. And so like Cat is the antithesis of never seems happy, always being fouled, shoulders slumped, and Ant's out there throwing the ball at Finchie, and it's hilarious.
He's a front man. He's a front man. If you literally told him, hey, there's 15,000 people in the arena tonight, and we just need to kill 30 minutes. Here's a microphone, and you gave one to Cat, one to Anthony Edwards. Like, Anthony Edwards could sit there and actually entertain people. Like, he's a front man personality wise, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes, I think he lost a little of that at the start of the year, not necessarily because Cat too. I think he got beat up with his idiotic video.
Yeah.
And that was a little hard to come back from too, because he'd never experienced getting, ridiculed, ripped and stuff like that. I'm sure that took a while to recover from too for him, but he's yeah, you're right. I mean, he enjoy. I mean, he wants that triple double, but not just so he can talk about it, not so much that he needs it. He wants that. They were handing out some gifts in the locker room. Somebody sent him packages of stuff, and he couldn't find his. He thought somebody had snatched the gift from some company gift in there. And this is some baby man. This is what and then
who stole my company gift.
He's got some puck though, like that stuff is a bit like puck.
I think if you want to do it in a cheerful manner. Now I haven't been around enough to know, and I was around puck always, but I think if you gave him a hard time in a cheerful manner, he'd enjoy it.
Yes.
If you needled him about something, he would enjoy it, and Cat would probably challenge you. So
Cat would walk out, hang his head and walk out. Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah. The double technicals yesterday though, and then kid going crazy and get thrown out. I put our guy Sean Sweeney, former Cretan guy, an academy guy, on the bench or coaching the game. I have had some conversations with him. Nice former altar boy, great guy. He can use the F-bomb as an adjective better than anybody I've ever talked to in my life. Just he's a great guy. I'm hoping he gets a chance to coach in the league someday, because he's hard at it and loves. He's just an absolute basketball addict, and has always been since he was a little kid. And it would be nice to see him get a shot somewhere, but not under those circumstances, obviously, last night. But is there a team in the league? Well, I guess maybe Memphis with Ja Morant. But is there a team in the league that has one guy have the ball as much as Doncic does? I mean, he gets the ball always. He does. He's orchestrating everything. He's great, but when he's not making shots, they're dead.
Yeah, I think he is. They actually have a stat called usage percentage in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the rankings. Actually, there is one guy that has a higher usage percentage than Luka. I'll give you two guesses.
Well,
Ja is fourth.
Okay. Lillard? No.
Lillard
is eighth.
Okay. No, can't help you.
Giannis.
Okay, I was just thinking, Giannis. Yeah, Giannis is a good guy to use, but anyway, it was the involvement of the crowd was interesting last night. It was nice to see that, everything was so negative about him a month ago, even with all of us. It's that's what I don't want to say the public perception, but the public involvement has changed since Cat's not playing too, right? I mean, the public saying, oh, hey, this is fun.
It's more fun.
Let's watch him battle. Who else has kind of come into his own here is McDaniels. Defensively, he played like hell, and every once in a while he jumps about 23 feet in the air and dunks one, and he's pretty. They got some guys who are good players that we didn't know were good players when Cat was playing. So.
Austin Rivers having a rejuvenation, like you said earlier. Even Jalen Noel has kind of in the last 10 games sort of figured out how to play 25 effective minutes.
I was looking at because Nas, came out early from LSU, played 1 year at LSU and came out for the draft and went undrafted. So I was looking back at 2019, and that's the Culver year, right? That's who is now in the G League for some team, Atlanta or somebody. And the imperfect science of drafting, because they got McDaniels in the second round, and then they got Naz Reid in the unsigned free agent. So they Gerson rescued himself in the second round and by signing Naz Reid, even though Culver, one of the worst 6th overall draft choices of all time. So
yeah. Hey, last thing for you here. Kirk Cousins it's back-to-back 400-yard games, right? And he sets a record, personal record with 460 yards, helps lead the Vikings to the biggest comeback in NFL history. And how did the Vikings repay him this morning? By signing his replacement to the practice squad, Josh Rosen, former 10th overall pick.
Really?
The disrespect, Patrick.
Boy, how about that draft choice, by the way? That was the Cardinals, right? The Cardinals drafted him.
And they took Tyler.
He's example A of this idea. We got to draft a quarterback in the first round, and he might turn out to be half-ass good, and this has got to be about 5 teams for him, right?
Actually, we'll play a little game to end the show here. You guys can all team up. Declan probably cheated already, but this is the 7th team for Josh Rosen already.
Oh, no.
He's 25 years old. This is his 7th team.
Dolphins is 1.
Name the other 6. Dolphins.
Browns.
He went to
Browns.
The Dolphins. The Dolphins gave Arizona a draft choice. I don't know, not a first rounder, but a pretty good draft choice. Who else? The Browns.
So Dolphins, Browns.
It's been mostly practice squad since, and I lost track. So
I'll give you the Cardinals because they drafted him. So
is he with the Niners?
He was with the Niners in 2020.
Right.
Yes.
Really?
he's Blaine Gabbert, basically.
That's an insult to Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, easy.
How many games has he played in the league?
He started 16 games.
Okay.
He started a game here
yeah,
for the Cardinals, and it was unmitigated disaster.
He's actually only started 3 games since his rookie season, which is, there's a reason for that, but
3 too many.
He hasn't really actually had a chance.
Bringing up Josh Rosen reminds me of the athlete who Cat reminds me of, Kyler Murray. He's a foot taller,
yes.
But it's all about me. It doesn't give a damn about anything else. That's my comparison. 5'1",
that's a great one.
And 7'1" Cat. That's my comparison.
That might be a column right there.
Super talented, but doesn't plug into the team in the way that you should.
No. Now he's gotten hurt. Now he's gotten hurt, so he's happy. He doesn't have to play until next fall. What did he break a knee or some damn thing? I don't know what he did. But
I need 2 more. I need 2 more Josh Rosen teams from you guys. Raiders or none?
Okay.
How could we possibly follow a guy around who's bouncing around?
And it's practice. It's practice squads too.
The Bucks.
The Buccaneers. Look at Declan.
Wow.
Why do you know this?
Are
you stalking him?
This is impressive.
Wasn't he arrogant as hell? Wasn't he an arrogant?
Yeah. Remember, so Trent Dilfer used to do that Elite 11 high school quarterback camp show on ESPN like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it might have been more like 7 years ago. But Josh Rosen was one of the featured quarterbacks. He was like a junior or senior in high school. And he was arguing with Dilfer about like the play calling in this camp. And Dilfer's like, dude, I played 15 years in the NFL. I am trying to help you become an NFL player. Why are you pushing back at me?
Really? Did you see a video of that or something?
There's some stuff out. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And Josh said, because you weren't that good. And neither will I be.
But that's the thing I was complaining to you yesterday, Judd, about this idea. We got to draft a quarterback in the first round, even if there's only 2 that are worthy of being drafted in the first round. We're still going to draft Christian Ponder or somebody like that.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
he's next now.
Yeah, because if you draft the best defensive tackle instead, it'll make your 4th round quarterback better because you won't have to score 30 points.
Was Collinsworth doing? Who was doing his game? Wilson's
on Sunday.
On Sunday, who was?
No, it was Detroit and the Jets. I didn't
so
watch. So
probably Kenny Albert.
Yeah, it was probably
no, but the analyst was working so hard to make Zach Wilson not look like a complete piece of horse dung. It was unbelievable. Oh, there, look at that throw. There's what the Jets saw. And then he would follow it with 3 lousy ones. He's,
All right, I'm going to go one more guess on Rosen.
I love it.
The Bears?
You got the color scheme close.
Who?
The Falcons.
Oh, the Falcons.
Who's he coming from now? Was he anywhere?
His couch. I think he got cut by the Browns in training camp, and he's just been.
He can throw some passes.
So why are we doing this? Who did we have as our practice?
We lost David Blau off the practice squad to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So we need an emergency practice squad developmental guy.
Arizona after Murray got hurt.
They need a guy to essentially take practice throws off the two existing QBs. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, and if something happens where two quarterbacks get hurt, like San Fran, you just need like a guy that's done it before to stay in there.
David Blau is another promising youngster who's only been about 7 places too, right?
Yeah.
But he helped us. Don't forget, he helped us prepare. He helped us. He got a lot of credit. I think it was the first game against Detroit. He knew all their secrets. Yeah. All their secrets.
Yes. Well, their secret is they're not horrible. They're not terrible. I almost said their secret this year is I hope they make the playoffs.
Oh, they're in now, man. That was their hardest game left, I think.
Yeah,
I think it was. They get the Panthers this week. Well, the Panthers
the
are
Redmanders will be they'll lose another one, won't they? So Lions will have to run the board though, I think, don't they? Man, not necessarily.
Some of it depends on the Packers. Last night, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw that. So Rodgers did his post-game interview with Lisa Salters, and she said, you guys got another win here, and you have to run the table, and you got 3 teams that are above 500 remaining." And he looks at her and he goes, "Well, one of them is exactly 500." He corrects her. He knows exactly what the Lions' record is.
Yeah,
amazing.
They won't. He's gonna get swept by the Lions after not losing. Didn't he have some ungodly? Didn't the Lions beat him the first?
Packers didn't lose to him forever, right?
Yeah, right.
Did the Lions beat the Packers early this season?
I think they did.
Yes,
didn't they?
in Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think they play there now.
That was kind of the tip-off that, ooh, man, they stink. So.
And the Rams, Mike, did you guys watch any of that game last night?
God,
the Rams
no,
are
I was watching
decimated,
the Timberwolves. I was there, sitting next to your empty seat, Jeff.
Yeah, I might go Wednesday.
Well, you can see the same. You can see the
I
same
know,
game
back to backs against the same team.
Yeah, it is. Only the Wolves could end up with the number 1 overall draft choice on a contract that pays him $235 million, being your biggest problem. Only the Wolves. Only that could only happen to the Wolves, right?
That you're more excited about Kyle Anderson coming back than Karl-Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, you got.
Carl's gonna come back for years. Don't worry about it.
Before the game, they find out that Anderson can't play with the bad back. Does that stop this club, this catless club? Hell no. As long as Cat's not coming back, we're fine.
Ridiculous. All right, Pat, we got to run. We will. We'll talk to you again a couple times later this week.
All right. See you, gentlemen.
See you, Reusse.
All right, there it is, Reusse. You can find all of these Reusse conversations on the Mackey and Judd podcast feed and the Reusse Unchained podcast feed if you just want straight Reusse injected into your veins. See you guys.